Have you run out of space on your shelves for your Gunpla? Too many kits shoved into one tiny little space? Or are you just sick of typical boring ways to display those kits? Well, maybe it's time your Gunpla took flight. Hey, what is up everyone, and today I'm going to be taking a look at this curious little thing right here. So in case you're wondering what this is a wall mountable action base for using with Gunpla. So of course, this right here is 3D printed, and just like the last 3D printing video I did about using 3D printing for Gunpla as a hobby, this would not have been possible without those people over at Anycubic. So thank you to them for sending me on their wash and cure machine, which is what mainly this video is going to be about. And then we're going to be using this to hang up some Gunpla up on the wall. Which is pretty awesome because that's what I used to do with my Figma back in Japan. Japanese walls are made out of this kind of like soft spongy material with this kind of interesting grippy wallpaper over them. So I used to always hang my Figma directly up on the wall, which I thought was such a cool effect. That can't really be done with standard concrete and plastered walls, so this thing right here is perfect. So before I get any further into the video, I have to say props to the person who designed this. I did download this off of Thingiverse, and this was designed by Soozafone, I think that says, but I will drop the link to this item down there in the description if you want to print 1 or 50 for yourself. Because this thing will revolutionize your Gunpla display game. But yeah, as for how I actually went about making these thingamajigs right here, let's get right into that. So I printed this awesome little wall stand exactly the same way I would have with that Dane's leaf I did the last time that I attached onto Barbatos Lupus. Once again, it was printed in an Anycubic Photon, the exact same one they sent on to me last time. Just in case you don't know, resin printers are more suited to more detailed things than this particular base right here, and I will be making some awesome detailed stuff for the next video, which will be coming up pretty soon. But because now I can actually cure the resin properly, I want to do some more detailed things and maybe paint them up a little bit to see what they look like completely finished. But for now, we're taking a look at this action base. So the first thing I did was grab the 3D data of Thingiverse. Once again, the link will be in the description if you want to print this particular base. I opened it up in Anycubic Slicer software, which is what comes included with the printer. Left it exactly as it is once it's imported into that program. I didn't do anything to it, didn't add a raft, no supports, anything, just printed it as is, and it came out perfect first time, second time, and third time. Which is more than I can say for this Buster Sword, but hey, I'll mention why I screwed that up so much in the next video. And then it was time to crack out that wash and cure machine, and before this video I would have assumed it's not necessarily something that you really need. You can wash the resin yourself, you can cure the resin yourself with a UV lamp, but after using this, I would never go back. 1, I hate washing resin, and 2, honestly I had nothing to cure it with. So in the last video with that Dane's leaf, it was kind of like working with soap. Horrible, toxic, poisonous soap. So yeah, cure your resin. Just like the name suggests, this is a wash and cure machine, so mode 1 is to wash your resin. There's multiple ways to do this depending on the size and shape of what you want to wash. I am an absolute 3D printing noob, so I made the mistake so you don't have to, so I chose the wrong thing first, but we'll see why. To wash your resin, you can either fill this container right here with alcohol or warm water with a detergent. But considering the situation right now, I'm using all my alcohol to wash down packages, so I went for the detergent and warm water. From here, it's incredibly simple. You just choose wash, then the amount of time, and it washes your resin for you. And this is where the mistake happened. Yeah, don't be me. Realize when something can fit through that basket and block the spinning mechanism. Don't do that. If you're going to wash something that's long and narrow like this, then the other option is you can actually put it in on the plate section of the printer that it prints on. So it stays attached to that while it washes, so it won't get stuck in that spinning mechanism down below. And believe it or not, phase 2 of wash and cure machine is cure mode. This is quite simple. It's a bunch of UV lights and a spinning clear base that will spin and cure your resin. According to Anycubic, this machine uses a combination of 365 nanometer and 405 nanometer UV light, so it is compatible with 95% of resin 3D printers on the market. So even if you have a different resin printer, this machine should work great. It also has a built-in safety mechanism that the UV light will be immediately shut off if the top cover is removed, and the wash container is well sealed. It is also the cheapest all-in-one wash and cure machine on the market right now, so once again, if you do want one of your own, there is a link down there in the description. And Anyway, let's check this base out and hang up some Gunpla. So anyway, let's take a look at this stand in a little bit of detail before hanging up some Gundams with it. Once again, this can be printed in any kind of 3D printer that you like, and the link to this item is down there in the description. So once again, I have to say this is an incredible yet simple design. I guess all good designs, or the best designs, are simple. So I will mention on the actual thing on Thingiverse, it did mention that the hooks for using with this, or the intended hooks for using with this, are those easy to attach stick-on hooks that will not damage your wall. However, I don't have any of those handy, so I'm going to be using ones that, well, damage my wall! But yeah, just in case you're looking for something that is more of a temporary or non-damaging option, this right here is great, and using those type of hooks would be perfect. So that is what this end up here is for. That will connect onto the hook. These rest against the wall. So the next section of this is this little hole up here. So this is where you attach your Gundam. So as it is, this is intended for using with a high-grade kit, but we do also have this little adapter right here. This is for using with the standard style master grade base adapter, and there is a third one as well, which I'll pop up on the screen right now, which is just an extender. Once again, this is for using with high grades, and it just makes sure that they stick out further from the wall if that is what you want. So one question might be going across your mind right now, and that might be, how do I connect a Gundam to a hole? And this is another incredibly smart aspect of the way this thing right here is designed. And that is, well, if you've got yourself a Gundam, that means you've got yourself one of these. So this is the runner or sprue that the Gundam would have come on, and you just use one of these sections right here, chop that out, stick it in the hole, and there is your connection point. So we'll mention all these little holes and whatnot on this stand. These will need to be worked on with a file or something similar because they can be a little bit tight right out of the printer. Some of them I found were fine, some needed a little more work. If you're like me and you just printed this flat down like this right here, then maybe this section here might be a little closed up and will have to be filed away. So keep in mind, if you are making one of these, you may have to modify some of the holes, but when it comes to 3D printing, that is pretty usual. So once you got your little bit of runner cut out, you may need to file it to the right width to fit in here and fit into your Gunpla. This is about all the length you need. You don't need a whole lot, so basically a whole runner will go a long way. But yeah, it just pops into the hole like so. Make sure it's in there good and tight. You'll have about this much left over. Of course, you can have it longer and then just snip it off to the length that you want. And then you just stuff that little bit of runner into that patented Gundam butthole. And there you go, there is that wall stand ready to hang this guy up on the wall. This may end up too tight or too loose. If it's too tight, just sand or file down this little section of runner. If it's too loose, then you can just tighten it up with something like super glue, but let that super glue dry before sticking on your Gundam, or he might be, well, he might be there forever. So now all that is left is getting this Gunpla up on the wall, and all I can say about these is these are awesome. So simply designed, they work so well. As long as you've got some kind of narrow-ish hook, you're good to go. Just stick it up on the wall, grab yourself a Gunpla, pop it onto that little attachment point we made earlier, and it looks absolutely and utterly spectacular. You may not be all that big of a fan of the neon yellow, so you can choose whatever color resin that you like. Whether you like clear, white, or black, whatever goes with your decor, or you could just take the paint you painted your wall with and paint this stand with that for an almost invisible wall stand that makes it look like your Gunpla is just flying in midair. For me, I've decided to build a shrine to kits that I ranked Gundarium tier, so, well, that perfect grade 007 sword definitely shouldn't be there, but eventually, this right here will be one big old Gundarium tier shrine right above my desk. But honestly, I would love to see a wall completely covered in kits. That would be awesome. Anyway, as always, thank you so much to Anycubic for sponsoring this video, as well as sending me on the wash and cure machine. The link is down there in the description if you want one of your own. This has really sped up my prints, so I genuinely love this thing right here. I will be making one more video about some weapons. If there is anything you'd like to see in that, drop it in the comments, let me know. But 3D data online for Gunpla is quite rare. It's something I wish was a little more common, a little more popular, because there's so many frames out there like the Iron-Blooded Orphans frames, the Master Grade Seed or the Master Grade Wing frames that all have similar parts and are just asking, begging for custom armor. But anyway, once again, link is down there in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla videos, and I will see you next time.